So we utilize Dental Intel, and a lot of our doctors will have the Dental Intel mobile app, and they will just go down the list, and on their way home, they're calling patients. Most patients don't even answer the phone. It's still great, even if your assistant's doing it. You're getting a personal touch. You're taking the extra step. There's nothing wrong with following up with your patient. But from a patient perspective, I hear what they're saying when they come back and when they're referring friends and how much it means for the doctor to have left a message. Being able to provide them that, along with a little bit of autonomy to not feel like they're controlled and under somebody's thumb.
Somebody with 5 offices or 10 offices or even 20 offices could actually execute on it, and someone like myself can even understand it. Welcome to another episode of Dental Marketing Go. I'm your host, Gary Bird. I'm the founder of SMC National, where we help you create, convert, and close more new patients so you can grow the way that you want. But you know what? There's an easier way to grow your new patients than marketing. I know I probably shouldn't be saying that since I run a marketing company, but there really is. And Brandi's going to share it with you today. Brandi Williams is the VP of Growth at Catalyst DDS. They have over 42 practices, approximately about 1,600 new patients a month, and a lot of those are coming from patient referrals. And she is going to give you some practical advice that will cost you maybe 5 to 10 minutes a day, but will help you get more patient referrals. And those are the best kind of patients because they already trust you, and she gives you step by step on how to do it. I promise you it's some of the most practical advice that I've heard about growing and getting more new patients in through the door. You're not going to want to miss this one. Stay tuned. All right, Brandi. So why don't you tell me what the number one thing that you're seeing for your 42 offices right now that's helping you guys grow more than anything else?
Most of our growth is coming organically from our patients, just patient referrals. One thing that I've really noticed that really brings in a lot of trust and value with our referred patients is that our doctors do follow-up calls after care in the evenings, reach out to the patients and leave a message, check on them. And the feedback that I get from patients, they just can't believe that their doctor has reached out. And I know sometimes doctors are like, oh, I don't want to call. I want my assistant to call.
Yeah.
But the return on that investment and what it does for patients retention and just the fact that the doctor cares enough to take time out of their schedule, I've seen huge growth and a lot of patient referrals just from that small gesture.
Yeah, it's interesting because in the medical world, one-on-one clinician care and communication used to be the norm, right? Like medical doctors used to go to people's houses for little things, injuries, things like that. But obviously with the way things are set up now, we're so far away from that. So if you want to set yourself apart, it makes a lot of sense. If you are calling your patients, or if the doctor's calling the patients, I should say, you're instantly setting yourself apart and you're able to get them to think about you in a certain way. So that's really cool. So what percentage of your new patients would you say? I know you guys get a lot of new patients between all your locations, about 1,600 a month. What percentage of those are coming from patient referrals, would you say?
I don't have the exact metrics. I should log into my Dental Intel and see if I can find that out.
I should have gave you a heads up on that. So normally, normal offices are like 50-50, right? About half of your patients come from patient referrals, half come from marketing. Sometimes you can get up into 60, 70%. So why don't we talk through some of the tactics that you're actually using to get people to actually do this, to get the doctors to actually do this? Because first of all, how long does it take them in the afternoon there at the end of the day, and how do they kind of schedule that in?
So we utilize Dental Intel, and a lot of our doctors will have the Dental Intel mobile app, and they will just go down the list, and on their way home, they're calling patients. Most patients don't even answer the phone. It's a number they don't know. Some of our doctors just call from their cell phone. They're like, I'm not getting, random text and prank calls from my patients. Most patients don't even answer the phone. I call, leave a message, and they're telling their friends, or their friends are calling saying, oh, my friend told me their dentist called and checked on them. I want to come here. And then we've also, we have providers that aren't comfortable doing that. You can get a Google number and call where it's not traced back. And it takes maybe 5-10 minutes to run through your patients that they usually do, any patient that they've anesthetized.
You want to hear something crazy? Dental marketing agencies are dead. You got that right. They're dead. Why do I say that? Well, we don't consider ourselves a dental marketing agency. We are a growth partner. What that means is we help our clients not only create opportunities, but we help them convert them and close them as well. And that is what's needed in the day and age that we live, because just getting new patient leads is not enough. You need somebody that's going to help you actually get these new patients into your chair and make sure that they're the right kind of patient for your office. Now, we put together a whole report that will tell you where dental marketing currently is, because there's a ton of changes, tons of things are going on with the market. And we broke down what you're going to need to do to stay ahead of the industry and grow the way that you want. The link is down below. Go check it out. Everything is free. I look forward to hearing from you.
Got it. So just so I want to make sure I'm understanding this correctly, the doctors are heading home. They open up the app as they get in their car, and then they just have a list of numbers there they can press on. Hey, Roger. Hey, Susan. Hey, Bobby. Most people are not going to answer the phone. I don't answer the phone if I don't recognize your number, right? It's just like, whatever, go to voicemail or text me. And so they're getting the voicemail. Hey, Susan, just wanted to check on you. Then they go to the next one. So are they wrapping up their calls in 10, 15 minutes of all the patients they see, basically on their commute home?
Mm-hmm.
So,
yeah,
wow.
Absolutely.
So that's amazing because it's setting you guys apart. It's getting the patients to be really happy. They're getting that extra care. They're probably checking the message and going, wow, the doctor called me. And I don't ever have a doctor call me. It's always the office. It's always in almost every medical field. And so that's going to really set you apart. And it's so simple. How did you get the doctors on board with it? Was everybody on board with it at first? Or did you kind of have to massage them to get them on board?
It was 50-50 mix, I'd say. And honestly, our owner CEO, he's been doing it since he has been a dentist. It was something that he just picked up and started doing and noticed like, oh my gosh, I can't. He didn't have enough days of practicing to see the referrals that were coming in. And he was like, this is such an easy thing to do. So as we're bringing on new clinics and we're bringing on new providers, we're telling them this is such a great way to grow your practice. And you'll get some pushback. I don't want to call. I don't want people to have my number. But for the ones that are doing it, they're getting great results and happy patients and more referrals.
Yeah, that's great. So if someone else is out there, let's say somebody listening, they have 10 practices. And so they probably have, 20 doctors. And 10 of the doctors are like, great, I'll do it. 10 said, no, I don't want to do it. What would you do? Would you just say, okay, great, let's take the 10 and let's do it and then show the results to the other 10 to try to get them on board?
I try to find out, what their objections are to begin with. Was there a reason? And we still have some doctors that are like, no, I'll have my assistant do it. It's still great. Even if your assistant's doing it, you're getting a personal touch. You're taking the extra step. There's nothing wrong with following up with your patients. But from a patient perspective, I hear what they're saying when they come back and when they're referring friends and how much it means for the doctor to have left a message or just made an effort to connect with them. So I think if you're really wanting to build a relationship and, continue to grow your practice, that's a great way to do it. Really easy. Doesn't cost you anything, but a little bit of time.
Is there any direction you want me to take this to kind of set you up for the slam dunk to kind of wrap up these thoughts on this particular portion? Or is there anything else you want to cover?
No, I think just really driving the relationship, just not with your patients, but your providers, and as far as getting them on board. And yeah, I loved
Let's talk about that. Okay. You loved what? Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I just love what you'd said about, having them try it or taking the results of the 10 doctors that are doing it versus the 10 that aren't.
From a group level or from a DSO level, when you're working down with your providers and you're trying to build out that relationship with them so they can build their relationship with their patient, what are some things that people need to keep in mind around that relationship? Because I know motivation's a huge part of it and time is a huge part of it. And so how do you balance that? How do you get as many people on board as possible and maintain a good relationship from the DSO level down to the provider level, then from the provider to the patient?
Communication's a huge part of it. And that sounds really easy to say, and to live it out and play it out is a lot harder. But really, from a leadership team, really forming relationships with our provider, having a mutual respect for them, giving them the tools and the resources to be as effective as they can. We have partner doctors, we have associate doctors, and we value the input and want them to have the autonomy to do the dentistry that they want to do, but we want to give them the tools and the resources to be the best that they can be. So
yeah,
just having a relationship.
I even love
with
this
them.
the way you. Yeah, sorry to cut you off there. I love that, like, even as simple as the tool of like, hey, we got this app that you can just go in and press the button, so they're not having to dial the button from, dial all the buttons from an Excel spreadsheet or something like that. Something that simple, that would help me do it, right? Like, I'm sitting here thinking selfishly, like, if you hand me a sheet of like 20 numbers to call all of these. It's like, okay, I have to punch in all the numbers. But you give me an app that's just like, here's your daily checklist. Just make sure you press these phone numbers and call these people. It just, even that is, I think, a huge step in the right direction to help with setting people up for success.
Mm-hmm. And a lot of, providers that are coming over into group practice and to DSOs, that's the reason they're coming. They want to have all the whistles and bells and the latest technology, and being able to provide them that, along with a little bit of autonomy to not feel like they're, controlled and under somebody's thumb. But being able to have a good relationship with them and be able to have just conversations about, this is why we'd like to do this. These are the results we've seen. We want to give you the opportunity and the tools to be successful and use the same things that, we've seen to be successful.
That's so cool. This is such a practical, easy thing to be implemented. And again, I'm sure if you interview enough doctors, some doctors are going to be like, I don't want to do that, or have somebody else do it. But again, you can probably get anybody can probably get half of their organization on board with this right away with a quick meeting and just saying, hey, let's try this out. And let's measure it for 90 days. And you're going to see your patient referrals jump. And here's the thing. I mean, full disclosure, I'm a marketing guy. I run a marketing agency. We drive new patient results. But if I was in your shoes, this would be my number one marketing initiative, because it's so simple and so easy to get a win. And it saves you money. Then you don't have to pay marketing to drive more new patients, because you're getting more new patients through referrals. Plus, what most people don't realize is that each patient referral is worth about 2.5 marketing patients. Why? Well, if you happen to miss the phone call, they trust you. Yeah. Someone else has done the selling.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I'll take those new patients all day long. We're not kicking tires. They already established some level of trust and value with our group. So it's the best new patients, and they don't cost near as much.
Yeah. You know what, Brandi, this has been, we do a lot of podcasts, and obviously people come on the podcast and they always want to show off all their bells and whistles, like what you were talking about. A lot of times it's complicated and really hard to understand, or something that somebody's been working on for 40 years. You've probably today provided the most practical, easiest way to grow that you're probably going to get yeses from most people, both from the doctor side and from the patient side. And so I love how practical this is. And, I've heard call your patients before, but I've never quite had it broken down like this. So I really appreciate you coming on and sharing this and putting it on the bottom shelf. So somebody with 5 offices or 10 offices or even 20 offices could actually execute on it. And someone like myself can even understand it. So thank you so much for that. I really appreciate you coming on today.
Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. If someone wants to reach out and learn more about your guys' group and what you guys are doing, what's the best way to get in contact with you?
Yeah, so I'm with Catalyst Dental Allies, and they can reach us on our website, catalystdds.com. And you can find me on LinkedIn, Brandi Williams, and I'm with Catalyst Dental Allies.
Awesome. Thanks so much.